Alright guys, for today's video we're picking things up right where we left off in the last one. Remember, we set up our scene so players can connect over the internet using Unity's relay system. Since that video I've made a few small changes, but they're only visual. I added animated characters to the players, but from a programming point of view, everything is basically the same. So, as the title says, today we're building an interaction system. This system will handle objects in the scene, make sure they're synced over the network, and let players grab them. Let's start by creating our base prefab. I'll add a network rigid body, and Unity automatically adds the network object, the network transform, and the rigid body. This will be our foundation for any interactable object. Now we're going to jump into Cursor and explain in detail what we want to build. I wrote a pretty big prompt for this. I'm not going to read it here, but you'll find it in the description if you want to use it. Basically, I explain every part of the system, everything it needs to avoid, and the fact that everything must stay synced over the network. So let's send the prompt and see what Cursor gives us. As you can see, it generated a lot of scripts. It actually built a full modular system, which is nice. I really like that it split everything by responsibility. But yeah, we've got some compile errors. This is pretty common when Cursor creates a big system with many scripts talking to each other. In this case, it looks like one script can't find the interaction events class. So let's not stress. We'll just ask Cursor to fix the problem. Cursor quickly gives us a solution, but it doesn't work. And this is actually a good example of a Unity-specific issue Cursor sometimes has. The error says the interaction events class doesn't exist, even though we can clearly see it right there. What's happening is that sometimes when Cursor creates a script, Unity doesn't pick it up in the CDOS project or workspace, so it never gets compiled. I don't know exactly why, but it happens. The simplest fix I've found is copy the code, delete the script, recreate it manually, and paste the code back in. And as you can see, that fixes it. So now we can continue with our interaction system. Let's check the setup Cursor wants for our interactable object. It asks us to add the script to the player, so I'll do that, then set the grab point and the interactable layer. It also wants us to add an interaction input to the player inputs. I'm going to use the E key, so I'll add that here. Now it's time to configure the object. Cursor created a really complete script. It includes UI text, the position and rotation the object should have when we grab it, and even sound options. Cursor also gives us the option to add UI, so I'll follow the instructions and build the interface in the player prefab. Alright, after following the steps, this is what we get. A text element for the prompt, another one for the object name, and I'm guessing the system will enable or disable them automatically. We'll see how it behaves in a moment. With all of that done, the setup is complete. So let's test it. It works pretty well with one player, although there's a small bug. The object's collider is hitting the player's collider when we grab it. We can fix this by moving the grab position forward a bit, or by making the player's collider narrower. I'm going to do both. Even with that change, I can still feel the player bumping into the object while moving, so I'm going to disable collision between the player capsule and interactable objects for now, since it won't affect gameplay at this stage. Now that this is solved, let's test it with more than one player. As you can see, grabbing works on one client but not the other. That happens because of permission issues. Only the host or server is allowed to move the objects. Let's tell Cursor and see what solution it finds. And yep, Cursor detected the problem instantly and fixed it. I'm going to turn this object into a prefab so I can easily make variations later. I also tested another script Cursor created, but it looks very similar to the one we're already using, so I'm just going to delete it. So, quick summary. Today we built a full network-synced interaction system and got it working across multiple players. In the next video, we'll start adding some feedback and polish to make everything feel much better. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.